Hey, what's up guys? Guardian here, coming to you guys with a very special video today. We are doing an anniversary special to celebrate the anniversary of Cardfight Vanguard. So we are revisiting the Time Leap series. This is a series that I did during the V series to sort of pay homage to the older versions of the decks as we were seeing the retrains of the old units being brought forward to the V series. So in this video, we are going to be going over my 2017 Blaster deck from the G series, and I thought we'd do it a little bit different this time since I know with the older videos, they were kind of like a sort of semi deck profile along with like a bit of history, but with this video, I kind of wanted to focus a little bit more on the history side of things because uh, I mean, it's no, it's no mystery that Blaster Blade and blasters in general is one of my favorite archetypes in Vanguard as a whole. But I thought we'd lay out here the different decks that we went over before, since it has been what, like 2 or 3 years since the Time Leak series ended. And yeah, I thought it'd be a nice run down memory lane very quick, and then we're also going to take a dip into the G series and sort of like my adventures with that and how it sort of went to be. So yeah, so first we are going to kick it off with Majesty Lord Blaster. So of course this was the last Time Leap video that I did on the channel, and yeah, it's a very iconic card. I was really happy to be able to actually make this deck in person, along with the other deck that I did before that one, which was a sort of more classical Royal Paladin build with like King of Knights Alfred with that sort of dashed foiling on him. Looks really, really epic. And of course the original Blaster Blade from the trial deck. So yeah, so these were decks that I never owned back in the day because I started Vanguard as Limit Break was coming out, which we can then move on over to this pile. So of course Blaster Blade did eventually return in the Limit Break arc. Spoilers, I know, but I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, what you're doing. But yeah, we had the Blaster Blade Spirit. I still remember the anime moment where Aichi, called upon Blaster Blade in his gold Paladin deck. I thought, oh my god, it was such a hype moment. And yeah, we have Blaster Blade Spirit there, and then we of course have now technically, I know this is a very like it's a very yin and yang opinion with this that I have, which is Ezel was technically the first ever deck that I made in Vanguard when I got into it. So when it comes to saying answering the question of what's my favorite card in the game, honestly, I do have to say that the original Blonde Ezel, I'll just put Criff down here. But yeah, the original Blonde Ezel from Limit Break is definitely my favorite card because I remember having so much fun with this card with the Superior Ride with Criff back in the day. This was like so fun to pull off. Just to get to grade 3 really quickly and then go rah with like Ezel. So yeah, it was really, really cool. And yeah, this card means a lot to me. And this was the one that I pulled from my booster box back in the day when I got that for a Christmas present, which was really, really cool. So this holds a lot of nostalgia for me, obviously. But yeah, this particular Ezel card is like my favorite card in the game. But when it comes to a unit, I would say Blaster Blade definitely takes the cake, I think, just because I have so much respect and appreciation for the development that Aichi and Blaster Blade had through the anime, basically. So yeah, and like I said before, in like my really old history video that I did for the channel with how I got into Vanguard. If it wasn't for the fact that Vanguard had Paladins in them in the first place, due to my history of playing RPGs like World of Warcraft and such, the Paladin fantasy was what got me into Vanguard in the first place. So, I pretty much owe everything to, the Paladin clans with Royals and Golds and maybe a little bit of Shadow, but not much. The only thing with Shadow that I did was Revenges back in Limit Break arc, which that is a pretty good segue, I think, to move on over to Limit Break. But before we actually look at the cards here, I actually dug out my very old cardboard cutout of the booster box that I opened for set 10. So yeah, this is what had the Liberators in them, and yeah, I got a booster box for that. I think that was also a Christmas present, or it might have been a birthday present, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I kept that like in a box under my bed for like years, and I managed to dig it out and find it. But we'll go over the cards here. So Of course, the trial deck for Liberators brought out the Ganslet Liberator, which is really cool. And then we also had this thing, which I managed to get from my booster box, which was an SP version of the Blaster Blade art from the trial deck. So yeah, this was really, really cool. And I mistakenly thought that this was just a normal triple rare when I pulled it, thinking that it's the same card, but just with a different rarity. I mean, that's what it is, but I didn't realize it was the SP until like way later on, like a week or so later, and I was like, "Oh my god, wait, this is like really rare." So then, I checked the price on it, and I think at the time it was about £50, I think. So this was really really cool to own back then, and I still have it today. I have not parted with it. I've kept it in my box, and I've treasured it ever since. So yeah, I mean, this is a difficult one. I definitely say Ezel's my favorite card in the game, but this one also holds a soft spot for me. I'd probably have to put this at like number 2, maybe. So yeah, that was like Limit Break era and stuff. There was also like Duel Knights that I got into during this time, and as time went on, we eventually got to the Legion arc. So obviously, I think on the channel I looked at the mixture of like Thing Saver, Alfred Exif, and not Wingle Brave, Wingle Seeker, because Seeker was the archetype for Royal Paladin that Legion got, and it was also a return to form since Blaster Blade had kind of got captured from season 1 into season 2. Of course, we got the Spirit, and then Blaster Blade returned to us as a Gold Paladin during the Break Ride era. So yeah, we actually have a return to form here with Blaster Blade Seeker, but going back into Royal Paladin. So this was kind of like my first taste into being like the Royal Paladin guy, right? With like, Blaster Blade, Alfred, and then we had additions like the Thing Saver Dragon, which was really, really cool and pretty damn strong as well. So here we have the Blaster Blade Seeker from the trial deck, along with the Wingle Seeker, which we have the Legion art right there. Pretty cool. So we have those two. We then have the Legion rare of Blaster Blade Seeker and Alfred Exif. So you can see that building at the back, it kind of connects. And also, infamously, this is the misprint of Blaster Blade that says Shadow Paladin. So, yeah, they make like a high rarity Blaster Blade and they do a little whoopsie down there. So, yeah. But yeah, that's the Legion rare for Alfred Exif and the Blaster Blade Seeker. And the annoying thing with this is that you could only get this artwork of Blaster Blade in Legion rare, because I think this came as a triple rare, I think, in the set. But obviously, if you got the Legion rare Blaster Blade, you got the Alfred with it, because I think Legions came in the same pack together, similar to how they did it on Zero as well in the future. So yeah, so that's that. And then we have here the Legion rare version of Blaster Blade Seeker for Thing Saver Dragon's artwork, which of course we have Thing Saver Dragon back here. Try to line us up so you can see that well. So you can see the wing there kind of connects. So that's really, really cool. But yeah, this is also slightly annoying because I know that in Japan, they got a double rare version of this in their set, whereas English, we didn't. So you could only get the Thing Saver artwork for Blaster Blade in Legion rare. So that kind of sucked. And I never got a Legion rare Thing Saver back then because, I was already spending so much money on this deck, trying to get everything I needed for it, that I just needed to, I needed a break, somewhere, right? So that is that. So that is pretty much the adventure there that I went through with the original Vanguard series. And then we kind of had a complicated moment in G series when that initially came through. So, of course, we have here the G series version with Blaster Blade and also Blaster Blade Exceed. But before we get to this, there was a little bit of an adventure beforehand. So, when G series started, of course, Altmile was the face of Royal Paladin when it came out. And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't too sold on it. I didn't really like the aesthetic that much. I do regret that now. I wish I did. I wish I did go into Altmile when G series was coming out, with the Gablade sort of like a G unit as well, which was actually a pretty cool G unit. But yeah, the whole I don't know. I just didn't want to change really, and I do look back at that with regret. And it was a bit of a struggle and issue for me to get into the G series and have an aesthetic that I liked. But there was one thing that I did go into, which was Nova Grappler. So when Victor came out in set 1, that was actually the thing I went into when the G series came out. And I played Victor and Novas for about I want to say 6 months or something like that. So a pretty long time. And it did bring me a lot of success really with my locals, and it was a pretty solid deck to be fair. So yeah, but then in the future, I think the next thing I remember getting was Fenrir for Genesis, which is, I know, right? This is so different in comparison to being used to like all the Paladin stuff. And then I have to like experiment with different things with the G series and try find like my footing again. So yeah, it was a bit strange, but I tried Fenrir for a bit and that was fine for like 2 months. I think I kept that deck. But then time went on, and I think it was the year 2016, I remember, or 2015, I'm not too sure. This was sort of when I was kind of getting a bit, I wasn't getting used to the G Series stuff, and I kind of wanted to revisit my older decks and play with those. So I do believe it was 2016, if I recall, when set 6 in the G Series was coming out. And this is where we got like the introduction of like blaster support. So I remember in 2016, set 6 came out, and then we got like the blaster thing saver deck, which was like really meta relevant at the time. And we got like Blaster Barkle, Flora Held and Floggle, Light and Dark Lou. So many good like blaster support cards, and that time was hype. And I actually do have the video for that on my channel still. It's like one of the first videos I did. So yeah, it's been a while. And I also do think there was an Alfred deck I had at the time as well, if I recall. It was like an Alfred Seeker mixed deck, something like that, with the Transmogatory Dragon G unit, because that like unlocked your units as well, which was cool. So yeah, set 6 came out, gave a good boost to the Blaster archetype, and Thing Saver made a return. But then also, I think there was a mixture of a Fighters Collection as well as set 7, where we got Mithril Ezel. And Mithril Ezel was one of... I love this deck, dude. Like, I remember playing this deck, like, years ago, and it was so much fun. Like, the Mithril Ezel was just really, really cool. And then also we got the really cool support cards of, like, Howl, gave you Counter Charge and Soul Charge. And then we got the Wonder Ezel Grade 2, which allow you to, like, ride different Ezels from your deck, which was pretty nice. So there was a bit of synergy there with, like, the old, like, Blonde Ezel, and the cross ride as well with Platina. So you could actually do that and have a 13k base, which is pretty nice for defense. But then also we obviously had Ezel Scissors, which came out from the Break Ride era. So I remember trying to get my hands on this, and this was impossible for me to find. I think I had like 1 or 2, but getting the other 2 copies I did eventually get, but it was a struggle, let me tell you. So yeah. So that was also a period in time. This was set 7, and I think a Fighters Collection that did this, so that was also cool. So these were like the older decks that I revisited and played those in the G series with like, G zones and stuff like that. But then I think once I got my Ezel deck done, that's when I decided to experiment with Gurgwit. Now, we need to talk about Gurgwit, because we had this Gurgwit art come out in set 3, I think it was. Yeah, set 3. And I'm going to be honest, I wasn't attracted to this art in any way. I don't like this artwork. Apologies to anyone that does. I mean, we all have preferences. But yeah, I saw this and I just thought, I don't really like it. I looked at Victor and I thought, Victor just looks cooler to me, right? Like the Nova Grappler just looks cooler to me. So I just stuck with Novas at the time. But I will say, he did get a pretty good facelift in the start deck that he got. I think it was I think it was the same year, 2016, or it might have been the year before in 2015. My time frame's like kind of like all over the place. But yeah, I remember he got this start deck, and this artwork, dude, like that is what you call an upgrade. Like, holy crap, like that is so much better, and it's a very nice foiling as well on it as well. So that's really cool. And then we also got a sort of reprint, like alternate art of Gorbaduck, which was the obviously Stride Fodder / Gurgwit Searcher during the G series. So yeah, so I actually decided to build this, and again, that was also a struggle because I had to try acquire cards that came out a year ago, and yeah, I think I remember Powell, the grade 2, the one that allows you to get like a top 3 caller unit when it attacks while boosted. I think it was a GB1 as well. I remember that double rare being about 20 quid each. Now, people complain about prices all the time with card games, but holy crap, like G series was expensive. Like that was a difficult time for me, and I wasn't really getting as much money back then. Like my expenses weren't as much. in terms of like how much money I had available. So yeah, it was a grind, dude. Like it was a really big grind. So yeah, I played Gurgrit for a solid while, but I noticed that he kept getting more support like every other set or something, and this was a big struggle for me because I think once I almost completed the deck at the time, the next set that was coming out with like Glorious Raining Dragon, the G unit, that was that was very expensive, and it also got the GR Gurglet as well that gave 5k to your field. And those again, I think that GR cost like 40 to £50, and then the Glorious Raining Dragons also cost somewhere about £20, £25 each, and I needed at minimum 2 copies because G series had that really dumb thing where you had to like flip a G unit up, Persona flip, I guess, to activate skills. So you needed a second copy to actually use the card, which I really didn't like. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So yeah, I had Gurgurt for like a fair few months. I want to say like maybe 5 or 6. And then we entered 2017. 2017 was my year because this was the year that we got the announcement for the one and only Aichi Legend deck. This was the thing that I was hoping for because I think we already had the Ren Legend deck and the Kai Legend deck. Kai Legend deck was 2016, I believe, and then Ren was 2015. I was hoping that they would do an Aichi one, and they did. I remember watching the different fight video, announcing it, like saying that the announcement was made. I remember seeing that when I woke up in the morning, and I was so damn excited, dude. Like I would not shut up about this at the time, and I wish I was a bit quieter, but I can't blame myself, dude. I was so excited for this, and it unfortunately got turned into a little bit of a meme. Even to these days, it kind of gets referenced, but I mean, I don't mind, dude. It was a really happy time, like one of the happiest moments in like card game life, and like for me in Vanguard. And I even kept the big box here that held all the like legend decks. I actually did an opening of this like on my channel like years ago, and yeah, I kept hold of that. I just have to, dude. It's just a piece of nostalgia that just means a lot to me. So yeah, I think that takes us to the deck profile now, or we'll go over like we'll make it a deck review, right? I won't explain everything. I'll kind of just like go by everything and just like talk about it, right? Let's just spread these cards across here. So we are now in the correct timeline. We are now here with Blaster Blade Exceed, and we also did fortunately get a reprint of Blaster Blade in the Legend deck as well, which was handy. So that made things a bit easier. But Wingle Brave was another issue at the time, I remember. So we have it here, my Blaster 2017 G Series deck. Now, this is a mixture of 2017 and 2018 because, well, it'll make more sense as we go through the deck. So, we have here the G-Zone, which I will put here. Now, for the sleeves, we do have the IG Legend deck sleeves, which I got at the time, which I've re-sleeved in some Dragon Shield Japanese size matte clears. Very, very nice. Glad those exist now in the world. But yeah, we also have the really cool like G sort of like silver backing sleeve for the G-Zone here, which is very, very nice. So yeah. So let's go over this deck. So one thing I actually want to show you is something that means a lot to me, which is I managed to get 4 copies of the well, not necessarily the signed, the gold stamp, I guess, the gold stamp Blaster Blade Exceed. Now 2 of these, I think it's the front 2 because I think I prepared this. Yeah, I think these front 2. These were, so the first one is the one that I pulled from my box, from the opening video, and then the second one, this is the one that my friends gave me for my, I think it was my 24th birthday, if I remember. And I do have the birthday card for that still somewhere. I'm not too sure where it is though. So yeah, these 2, I remember getting these, and yeah, recently I managed to get 2 more copies of the gold stamp. So now we have 4 copies of the gold stamp Blaster Blade Exceed. Really, really cool. And yeah, I really liked this art, how it was sort of like it's kind of like a grade 3 version of the grade 2 Blaster Blade in a way. So yeah, I kind of like the similarities in terms of the art style there. So that's really, really nice. So we have 4 Blaster Blade Exceed. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Let's just go in a line here, I guess. So 4 Exceed. Then we have the 4... well, I only play 3 copies of the Blaster Lu. This helps you recycle your Blaster Blade units. which is very, very nice. It also had shield and intercept as well, which is cool. So it's kind of like an upgraded grade 2. Then we have the 4 Blaster Blade from the manga, I believe. Yeah, this is the manga art that we got, the alternate art. And yeah, this was sick. Like, I think I saw a video from Card Protagonist back in the day, and he had this artwork, and I didn't know about it. And I thought, holy shit, I thought that art looks cool, and I thought I need to pick those up. So yeah, I tried to get some of these, and I think I had one of them from my friend Jamie, I think. And then I managed to get 3 more, I think, online somewhere. Can't remember what the site was, but yeah, I did get 3 more copies of those. And then we have here the infamous Light and Dark Lu, which I think we all remember this being a pain to get when the Legend deck came out. But yeah, still used today. It's a fantastic card, and it just recently got a Triple R reprint as well in the Revival selection last year. So that's also really cool. And then the final grade 2 I decided to put in here was, well, actually, no, there's 2 grade 2s here. We have the Trumpeter, of course. This allowed you to just search for any piece in your deck that you needed, which is pretty cool. And then we also have the 1 Blaster Blade Seeker, which I did keep in here just because it's a nice ride target for a 10k. And also, you could technically call it through like a, what was it, Aerial Divine Knight Alt Mile skill. Because that didn't cost any like resources to use, so yeah, I did keep the 1 copy of Spirit in here. Alright, so then we have the set 6 cards, which of course we have the Barkle for the counter charge, and also it worked with the Light and Dark Lu for the boost. We then have the really good Winkle Youth. So when this boost or the attack hit whilst on rear, you could put them into the soul. Well, actually, no, you check top 7, add a blaster from the top 7 to your hand, and then if you did, you put this into the soul. So the really cool thing with this, I remember in 2018, the world champion ended up winning because he kind of played a standard trigger variant of the deck and very rush oriented in the early game. And this was such a beast. Like, you should rewatch that video because that video was like nuts when I saw that. So yeah. Then we have the really, really good Lien PG. One card PG. What can I say? And then we have the 2 Stride Fodder just for extra striding consistency, basically. So yeah. Then we have the really difficult Wingle Brave. This was a pain to get back in the day if you didn't already have one, but thankfully back in the day when I made my Thing Saver deck, I did already have one of these, so this was very, very handy for me at the time. Then for some other stuff, we have the 4 Paladin Flogel, the deadly 4 Paladin, the pink Doggy of Doom. Never forget. And then we have the other crit which came out in set 11, I think, the Arangal. Then we have the infamous stand trigger that the world champion used. So this is what I mean by it's a mixture of like 2017, 2018 sort of thing. But yeah, I wanted to play the stand. But I think for the longest time, I did play the Margol draw trigger, which was just also a piece of nostalgia there. But yeah, you got a really cool new alternate art with the foil. And yeah, I did play that for a solid bit. And then the final card I remember getting for the G series with this deck was the counter charge heal trigger when you G-guard. So yeah, that is the Blaster deck from 2017/2018. This was pretty cool. Oh yeah, before we end, we also have the G-Zone. Almost forgot about that. So we have the 2 Ganslot, of course. The Ganslot was, dude, when this thing got revealed, this was nuts. Like, this was exactly what we needed. And yeah, it changed the deck. It really just made it flow a lot better. And this was where I feel like the power creep side of the game with G-Series kind of came in. It definitely escalated things very vastly, I think. So then we have the Alfred, of course, the Alfred G unit. Really, really cool card. The fact that we have Alfred as well with, the rest of the dudes that came back in Royal Paladin. We also have the addition of Alt Mile here, which could be used for the Spirit to get you a call of this, and then you could like retire something, so that was cool. And then we have the GB8 here, as well as a copy of the Aeromental Sabreeze. So yeah, decided to put that in here. And then we have some G-Guardians, of course. We're getting some new ones of these with the next premium collection coming out in 2022, so that'll be nice to see. But yeah, we have the Raktum here for a discard and draw. The Dismal to protect the Blaster Blade. The Mascal for a big shield. Also similar, the Assault Retrain for a G-Guardian. Really big shield as well for a Counterblast, depending on the number of units you have. And then we also have the 2 Merrin. Really good G Guardian, still used today. So that is kind of it for the G series deck. And yeah, this was a pretty much a good look back at like all of the stuff that we did with the Time Leak series. And before we wrap it up, so after the G series ended, we actually still played it for a fair bit of time. And I remember at the time, I not only decided to eventually, make an alt-mile deck. So I actually picked up the set 14 alt-mile stuff and played this for a bit. Now, this deck was nuts. I didn't think what it was like at the time, but I don't think it was too relevant because Link Joker was still around, and that basically shuts this deck down. But this deck is insane. Like, holy crap! Like, this deck was nuts when I played it. Like in 2018, I think. Because like I say, we were still playing G series because we still had our decks, and it's another form of Vanguard that you can play. And then later on in the future, I did pick up the newer Gurgwit stuff with the Gurgwit Golden Holy Sword Gurgwit, and of course the Gurgwit Helios, which I got this anyway because I think I wanted it for like a premium deck or something else, I believe. It might have been a Garmor deck, actually. It might have been like a Garmor Gold Paladin deck that I built. I can't fully remember, but yeah, we did eventually return to Gurgwit and Altmile as sort of like a trip down memory lane, but also a experience that I just didn't have because I stopped collecting the Gurgwit stuff, for example, when the Blaster Legend deck got announced. So that just came to a screaming halt, and then I just waited for this to come out. And yeah, we did eventually, with us playing G series still, we did eventually go back and then pay homage to like Altmile and Gurgwit as well. So that was cool. So yeah, I feel like that's everything. I think I covered everything in this video. I know it's a bit of a long one, but I tried to go through this as quick as I could. Tried to talk about the history, all the different stuff we've went through here, and even my old G series deck with Blaster Blade Exceed. Definitely a really fun time for me. I think I played this deck for like a solid year, I think, and that's when the reboot happened. But I was excited for it because to say that Blaster Blade is like my favorite unit in the game, it's a bit of an understatement, I think. So yeah, I thought I'd show those off one more time. Bit of a cheeky insert there, but yeah, that's going to do it for me, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. A very long-winded video. Not too sure how many of you are going to watch this, but I wanted to do this for the Cardfight Vanguard Anniversary and something a little bit different and a different sort of aspect to look at. Instead of like just a bog standard deck profile like I did with the other ones. So yeah, it's been a few years since I did a Time Leak video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. So yeah, happy anniversary Cardfight Vanguard. Let's keep going strong. Really been enjoying Overdress. We just got set 4 recently, and I did do a box opening that on the channel, so do check that out if you haven't seen it already. And the next set is set 5, where we get Blaster Blade again, boys. Yeah, so wasn't expecting that, but we are getting Blaster Blade in set 5, along with the return of MLB, Phantom Blaster Overlord, and Dragonic Overlord the End. That's going to be really, really hype. So looking forward to that. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. So I'll wrap the video up here. It's about a solid 30 minutes, I think. And I think that's good enough. So yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next video. So take care, guys. This is Guardian25 signing out.